we fight for everyone, not just for ourselves, but yeah, for everyone.
Hungry for the road all my life, thirsty for adventure all my youth, chasing all my freedoms down Liberty Avenue.
We moved actually out of New Zealand 7 years ago, and we came back to Friesland, to the Netherlands, and then we, took over this farm here.
What difference have you seen in farming over in New Zealand versus here in the Netherlands? Was there quite a big
farming in New
change?
Zealand is a lot better.
Okay, why is that?
Well, over here, the reason to come to New Zealand was just work hard and make the hours, and hopefully one day become a farmer, farm ownership. And we were working hard for that, but then my father-in-law died. He died over here, and then we had a big decision to make, like either we stay in New Zealand and live our dream and hopefully become farm owner one day, or come back and take over the family farm of my wife here. And we made the decision to come back here. Now, 7 years later, we sometimes wish we wouldn't have come here, you know, stay in New Zealand, because over here we've been here now for 7 years, and in those 7 years, in the 7 years we lived here now, you don't know what the government is going to do.
Yeah.
You don't know the rules, you don't have the spot on the horizon as a young couple and say, hey, that's our goal, that's what Holland wants, and we can do our investments on that. We can we can do the farm system around it. No, so we don't know what we're doing, and we're just basically guessing, and everyone is doing his own thing.
How long has it been like that for within the farming industry?
I think after the milk quota disappeared here,
Yeah.
and that was 2015, I guess, and that was just the year we came back. And
What was the milk quota? What is that?
well, every farmer had a quota, and he knew exactly how much he was allowed to produce in that year. And if you produce more milk, you were getting paid less over the last liters, or you were giving a little fine from the milk factory. So you knew exactly what the rules were, how to do it. And but now, it's not good anymore.
Why do you think the politicians don't seem to focus on the countries that we import products from, or that you import products from here in the Netherlands? Why do they not focus on those countries and putting requirements on those countries to reduce their emissions in order to import their products, but they do it to their own farmers with such low emissions? Do you have any idea why the government looks at it through that angle?
I don't know, probably because they want to build it completely full here with people and buildings and stuff, and they can supply really cheap food in countries like Hungary or Romania, or maybe later on Ukraine or whatever. They just want to build it full of buildings here and get rid of us.
If they don't have farmers supplying the food, would that mean government would then be in control of the food? What would that supply chain look like?
Well, I don't really know. Like now they export around 60 or 70% of the Dutch milk supply or meat supply goes overseas. And they just say, hey, we can get rid of our 50% of the farmers because we do export a lot of food. So if we get half of the food anyway, we don't need to export that much anymore. But they forget what they are importing. They might just as well import 70%. So if our supply stops, they need to import even a lot more food from overseas, and they probably put a sticker on it for, like I say, organic meat or organic milk or whatever, and it might come from Argentina with no rules or whatever, it's just really, it's a bad thing. Because like now what you see in Ukraine as well, it can happen over here too, you know?
Yeah.
So if you get rid of your food supply, and in case of a war or something else breaks out, we're all in the shit. And we don't want to go back to the same as in, well, I haven't been there, of course, in 1940s with a war, but if you have the stories here from the old people here, well, the whole Holland there was a big demand of food, and we don't want it anymore. You don't want to get rid of the things you need most important in life, and that's food.
Specific to farming,
Yeah.
what are some of the regulations or the rules that they've put in place that make it difficult to farm?
Now it's the nitrogen. 3 years ago we had a phosphate. Next year they probably come with water regulations. So they just do whatever they can to break us and to get rid of the farmers, basically.
How's the mental health of the farmers that you've spoken with recently? How are they coping?
Quite bad. I know a few cases that committed suicide. Either my father-in-law did over here. So that was a really tough time for us 7 years ago. But yeah, you have to be strong. And you have to be positive as well. You have to have good friends to basically talk about it. But overall, I guess from the people I know around in this area, it's going pretty good. But we have to watch out for each other, or talk to each other. And
Has the government tried to put any programs in place to help the mental health of farmers when
No.
they?
Not at all. No, not at all. They don't even care. All they want is just to get rid of 50% of the farms, and they say they make a new farming system that it will be better for everyone. It's not going to happen. It's going to be really bad.
The farming organisations that are put in place to try and help farmers, have they supported farmers against the government? Have they rallied to help them? What has that been like?
Well, some new organisations stood up, and they really do their best.
What are the names of some of the ones that have been really trying? Oh.
Well, Farmers Defence Force are doing quite a good thing. We got Agractie, who's doing quite good work for us. But the normal, the farming organisation, I have to say the last couple of weeks they are trying to do their best, because they of course know as well. If they don't help us, nobody will support them anymore. But
So what are some of the big organisations that were put in place before all of this happened? Because I know in New Zealand, and you'll know this from farming in New Zealand as well, you've got Dairy NZ, you've got Lamb and Beef, you've got Fonterra, you've got these big organisations, but they haven't come to the aid of the farmers against the government's regulations and what the government wants to do. What are the big organisations that are similar to those ones in New Zealand here in the Netherlands?
Well, what you see the last couple of years, of course, the milk factories, they have a say in it as well. So they are quite big in it. And you have the Dutch agriculture, they call it the NLTO, so that means the Nederlandse Land- en Tuinbouw, so that means the Dutch dairy and crop organization, crop farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they should help us.
Have they?
No.
Why do you think that is? Because these organisations
Because
should
they
care.
get subsidized by the government all their money. People that work for get paid by money from the government. And if they point a middle finger to the government and say, hey, we need this and this and this and this, they will stop their money coming in. And they always sit at a table in The Hague talking to the ministers.
Yeah.
And but they won't go against it, because they too soft, way too soft.
What are some changes? Say you could be in Parliament tomorrow making the changes for farmers that you would love to see happen. What would that look like? What changes would you make?
The whole nitrogen plants that they have will be that paper. I will get it, rip it apart, throw it in a bin, and because it's just it's bullshit. It's a paper problem. It's made up by people who don't have any idea of it. And because they all blame the farmers, but we are not the problem. We have the country is too small with too many people, too many different people come here, like you know, they all want to live. They all want to live here. I don't know if it has been on the news in New Zealand, but all the refugees who wants to come here, it's just a big problem, and the country is full. We are just overwhelmed with people over here, and like in New Zealand, you have 4 or 4.5 million people, but the country is 10 times bigger than over here. Over here, you have 17 million plus. And here in the northern part of Holland, we still have quite a bit of space here, but around the city, it's just crowded, and they just need our land. That's the whole issue. They have to stop people. You know, we have to help refugees, of course, but if it is full, it's full, and then some other countries have to stand up and help them.
What are some of the farmers doing now to try and make a difference? What are they putting in place?
We make one fist all together to stop the bullshit in The Hague, and hopefully get rid of the whole government, because they have to go. And as long as we stand together, we can achieve a lot. Yeah.
A lot of the Greens will say that farmers don't care about their animals and they don't care about the land that they produce that they work with the animals on. What do you think about that? Do you think that's right, that farmers don't care about their animals?
Every farmer loves the animals and does absolutely the best in what they can to look after the cows as good as possible. Those people, luckily, they are a really small group. And they believe their own stories. Well, fair enough. They just go ahead with it. I don't give a shit. But now, of course, everyone looks after the animals, and we want to produce safe, good, and a lot of food for everyone. And that's what we're doing. We're feeding the people in this world on the best manner, best thing we can.
If the government is worried about the environment when it comes to farming, are there some ways that you think the government could support farmers to have better environmental practices? Are there some subsidies that farmers could be able to have to help their land? Like what would that look like?
Well, we just need good people in the government that have a close line with the local farmers and make a plan all together. Because there are a lot of things that can even reduce nitrogen without even cull a cow. Well, Laley, you know Laley, who has the automatic milking system. They made up a machine who can, well, when the cows are inside in wintertime, you know, like the effluent and the pee, they separate it and they take out of the gases, because that's the problem when poo and shit is mixed up in together. They say, hey, that does the how do you say it? Is it pollution?
Yeah, yeah.
So they made up a really nice thing that can get rid of 40 to 60% of the nitrogen pollution.
Wow.
But the government doesn't believe in those things. But there are a lot of other things to reduce. Like if everyone if we get Jersey cows, does the same. You know, like smaller animals. So even on the farm, there are a lot of things that can change, but they don't want to listen to us. They don't want to listen to anyone. They just have their tunnel vision and they have their minds, because it's not even, it goes a lot further than just get the farmers off their land. It's like there's a whole different plan probably behind it.
So where do you think this ends? Fast forward 5-10 years time, where does this end?
Personally, I don't know, I might come back to New Zealand. No, but
I don't know if it's much better there for farmers at the moment.
Well, it's better than here, I tell you. But now, yeah, I don't know. If we win this, or if this chapter is closed about the nitrogen, I guess the other chapter will be opened, and we have some other fight that we have against the government. I don't think it stops, because I'm a young guy, and I said to my wife as well, I have to be at least another 25 years, I have to work on this farm. And do we want to continue with this sort of government, because it won't stop. But I don't want to stop, because we fight for it.
If you could say one thing to people at home who support farmers but they don't like the disruption to their everyday life, they don't like roads being blocked and things like that, what would you say to them?
Well, we do it for them as well. we fight for our freedom, but we also fight for everyone's freedom. And we want to make and produce good, safe, quality food for everyone. And you know, they don't. We have to milk the cows twice a day. We have to feed them. We have to be on the farm. We have to do the work. We don't like blocking roads and doing stuff like that. We're way too busy for that. But we have to. And if they have to be, you know, like if there is a roadblock and they have to wait for an hour or two, well, so be it. We don't choose for it. We have to, otherwise it's going the wrong way.
It's right on your neck.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of money to be made in farming in the Netherlands?
Well, at the moment we have an exceptional high milk price. We're not used to this sort of milk prices. On the other hand, we are really happy that we have the high milk price because all the costs are more than doubled. So if we wouldn't have a good payout, we would have all be, well, bankrupt basically now.
What's driving the high milk price?
Demand. We don't have enough milk in the whole world. So and now they want to stop us producing it? Bullshit. Absolutely bullshit. Because like, there's not enough dairy products in the whole world anyway. You can see it in New Zealand as well. Milk prices over there are pretty high there too. And yeah, and then just to stop 50% of the Dutch milk supply in the next couple of years, bullshit.
If people want to help you individually or help farming in the Netherlands in general, how do they help? What can they do?
Stand behind us, basically, because it's not about farming, it's about everyone's life who is basically in danger. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much. It's
all right.
been awesome meeting you, and thank you to these beautiful girls who were so good this whole time. Oh no, you lost a clog.
Taste of home. Home, home, home. I need a little taste of home.